Well, the combination of COVID-19 and an increase in crime has created the perfect storm of chaos in the Milwaukee County court system.
Tonight, Amanda Porterfield takes a closer look at what's causing a major backlog in cases.
A public health crisis at the same time as a public safety crisis.
It's been a double pandemic.
Milwaukee County District Attorney John Chisholm says he's been at work nearly every day since the pandemic started.
There's a lot of stress in the court system.
We're bringing on more cases now, working longer hours.
He's not alone. Chief Judge Mary Trajano and Milwaukee Police Captain Patrick Paget have also worked around the clock, keeping streets safe and courts running.
This has been crisis after crisis after crisis. And I'll just keep going back to, if we didn't have the relationships that we do have in this court system, we would have been in big trouble.
Before COVID hit, 4,500 people were here every day. After being shut down for nearly 3 months, Milwaukee County courts slowly reopened virtually. While some proceedings are still on Zoom, others are now in person. Social distance is still in place. Cases tightly scheduled to limit the number of people inside. All steps forward, but not enough for a backlogged system to bounce back.
How bad then is the backlog right now compared to, say, 2019?
Oh, it's very bad. In other words, I would say it's 3 to 4 times what we would normally have.
The number of jury trials is down from 12 a week to 8. There are about 170 trials waiting to be heard, putting the Milwaukee County court system about 18 months behind.
As we open up, one of the biggest limiting factors in us being able to get through this backlog, I think, is going to be how many jurors can we bring in at any one given time.
The more jurors, the faster they can process cases.
The backlog is significant. And it has a ripple effect, right? So we're always going to prioritize the most dangerous cases and the public safety cases, but that means that the cases that are serious but not of the same level, they tend to get pushed back further and further.
They're tired, but they're still getting the job done.
MPD's day shift homicide detectives are not just investigating crimes, they're also juggling in-person court appearances.
We do work 24/7 here in the homicide unit. So we do have a lot of times where we might have a number of people from one unit or one shift in court, and our other shifts just pick up the backlog or the follow-up.
Chisholm says the past 18 months have severely damaged years of progress reducing violent crime.
In many ways, yes, it's been frustrating because the COVID crisis was more than enough of a challenge right there. You really did not need to compound it by having people engage in all this violent behavior.
In addition to the increasing number of homicides, non-fatal shootings, domestic abuse, reckless driving, and drug overdoses, all high in Milwaukee.
That unregulated behavior and the overwhelming presence of firearms is what's driving the problem.
Not to mention the COVID-19 pandemic closed or disrupted support systems, including social services, criminal intervention programs, and schools.
I do see, though, the resilience of people sort of trickling up now, and everyone is trying to come together.
Chief Judge Trajano says community groups, health officials, law enforcement, and the judicial system collaborated to handle the pandemic. Now they're doing the same thing, dealing with the increasing violence.
It's going to help us create a template for other crises that may come upon us, where we create a really good playbook to try to figure out how to solve systemic issues in our community.
It's going to be the City of Milwaukee's mayor.
This chart lays out the members of the Violence Response Public Health and Safety Team, or VR-FAST. They meet weekly.
Man, my hope would be that this becomes a permanent fixture in our response to violence as a community.
But he says the plan won't work without funding. Chisholm believes money from the Federal Relief Act should go toward overtime for law enforcement, supporting community groups, and crime victims' resources.
The biggest ask I would have is put aside the ideological differences and just focus on making sure that we're doing everything as a state, as a county, and as a city to keep our people safe.
District Attorney Chisholm says there's still a lot of work to do, and as things continue to open back up, there is a strong chance that both the pandemic and violence may get worse before it gets better.